The Consumer Guarantees Act 1993 is an important piece of New Zealand legislation. It protects consumers by setting guarantees and allowing them to seek remedies. It also provides guidelines for suppliers and manufacturers. A supplier is defined as a person who in trade and supplies goods and services to a consumer. Trade could be any trade, business, occupation, activity of commerce, or undertaking relating to the goods or services. The Consumer Guarantees Act would apply to consumers if they purchase goods and services from suppliers. A consumer can be an individual or a company. According to Section 2 of the Consumer Guarantees Act, a consumer is defined as someone who purchases goods and services for personal, domestic, or household consumption. For example, if I bought crisps and drinks for movie night, this would be a personal, domestic, and household consumption. A company can also purchase goods and services from other companies, which is also protected by the Consumer Guarantees Act, unless the supplier has contracted out.
What guarantees are given to consumers? Suppliers and manufacturers protect consumers and are giving a series of guarantees to the consumers. The consumer guarantees for products in quality and acceptable quality, finished for particular purpose, comply with description and sample, and products arriving on time and in good condition. An example of this is when a consumer purposes and advertise 4K 55-inch TV. The consumer can inspect the product, the match its description, and sample this is sold in the store the consumer purchased it from, and the product arriving on time, if it's delivered, as well as the TV working in full and in good condition. On the other hand, the consumer guarantee for service including reasonable care and skill, finished for particular purpose, time of completion, and reasonable price. An example of this is when a hairdresser is dyeing a woman's hair orange. The consumer guarantees are that the hair is dyed with reasonable care and skill, is dyed the color that is required, finished at a reasonable time, and is also provided at a reasonable price. If the supplier does not meet these guarantees, a consumer has the right to get a repair, refund, or compensation from the supplier.
What rights do consumers have when they are unsatisfied with the good or service? You can expect the product to be safe, acceptable quality, and free of defects. When the guarantees are not complied with Section 18 of the Consumer Guarantees Act, which is basically when goods or services are not at the level of quality or used as described by the supplier, the consumer has the right to demand the supplier to either repair the good, replace the good, or give a refund. The consumer can also obtain damages from the manufacturer for the difference between the price paid and the current value of the good, or the average retail price of the good when it was purchased and the current value of the good. Another right that a consumer has according to Section 18(4) of the Consumer Guarantees Act is that they are able to claim for any damages that were caused as a result of the good that they purchased from the supplier. This also applies for any services that are provided in trade. For example, if this man's stove burns down parts of the kitchen due to a manufacturer defect of the stove, the consumer has the right to claim the supplier and or the manufacturer for these damages as it was caused as a result of the product defect. You may wonder, what is contracting out? Contracting out is a written agreement where a business does not have to comply with a specific act. A business can only contract out when it meets the following requirements: dealing with another person or business in trade. Both sides need to agree to the law not applying. The agreement needs to be in writing, and it is also fair and reasonable for both the seller and the buyer to contract out.
Because of the Consumer Guarantees Act, it is in the best interest of the supplier and manufacturer in the case of goods to ensure their products are of a high standard, rather than trying to cut costs by producing subpar goods and services. This is because if they fail to comply with the Act, they are likely to lose profit due to the nature of the aforementioned remedies, which their unsatisfied consumers will inevitably seek. In short, because of the Consumer Guarantees Act, businesses are now required by law to act ethically and provide only quality goods and services.